Hey, Webmo World Entertainment, and an interesting story is now doing the rounds regarding Avengers Doomsday. There's a lot of stories going around regarding Doomsday, and we're going to have a look at a couple of them. One is regarding a working title. Now, we know the movie is called Doomsday, but for some reason they're still giving it a working title, which is hinting to something. Part of the budget that they've already spent has been disclosed, and there seems to be something that's a rumor that sounds really weird for what the movie plans to do with some characters, which we'll get to. We'll touch on that a bit. But let's have a look at this part with the budget, because if they're spending this already and they haven't even started to film this thing, to the point that from everything we're hearing they still don't have a finished script or even a cast locked in for this just indicates that the budget for this thing is going to balloon. So, Avengers Doomsday is set to begin shooting in the UK any day now, and according to public records acquired by Forbes, Disney has already spent double on pre-production. $8 million compared to 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Now, keep that in mind. They've already spent $8 million compared to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Ant-Man and the Wasp's budget was well over $300 million in the end. And this is the thing about them filming in the UK. We're going to be able to see all of this. Now, with this article saying any day now. No, that's bullshit, because it's meant to film near sometime in April. Not now. So this continues saying, not only does this point to the House of Mouse putting its weight behind the Marvel Studios movie, but it's likely a sign that some huge sets are being built. In comparison, the Ant-Man prequel was shot almost entirely on the volume, giving it something of a lifeless feel in the process. Keep that in mind. They're trying to now say, hey, they've already run 8 million up. It's probably because they're building sets. Yet, Ant-Man and the Wasp on screens that was meant to run the cost down ballooned the cost. So imagine how much it's going to end up costing to start building sets. And in all fairness, half of this movie is probably still going to end up being on volume as well. The fact costs are already racking up on Avengers Doomsday is bound to raise some eyebrows, particularly after the Russo brothers reportedly spent as much as $320 million on their recent Netflix critical flop, The Electric State, which I have the review of, which you can see if you're interested. Of course, it's worth remembering that Avengers Infinity War and Endgame had a combined budget of $1.3 billion, with both movies making that back and then some until Avatar's re-release. Endgame was the highest grossing movie ever. Keep in mind when they say that though is Marvel was in a very good and healthy position back then. Not the case now. Now you're going to run up these costs and your movies are struggling to hit $400 million at box offices. So trying to compare what's happening now to back then is just stupid. And they keep doing it. They keep trying to justify all this stuff. Like they were sitting there going, oh, Captain America Brave New World has opened with more money than the original Captain America's. They never took in the account of inflation and all that stuff. And what are all the articles saying now? Oh, it's actually looking to be one of the biggest failures in Marvel history. So, yeah, keep running with those scoops, boys. So, this is saying, with a roster of actors which reads like a roll call for the Oscars, Marvel had to go to great lengths to prevent production costs from ballooning, the site reports. So this is Variety, I'd assume. Instead of filming the movie in the United States, where many of the cast are based, the movie will instead be shot at the historic Pinewood Studios in the United Kingdom, where studios get a cash reimbursement of up to 25.5% of the money they spend in the country. Now, that all sounds great and good. Oh, we can balloon it, but we get 25% back. It still runs your costs up, and then you're just pumping that money back into promotion. So if this movie ends up costing $400 million, and then they get their money back, it still cost them upwards of 370 million. Keep that in mind. So it's also been revealed that Avengers Doomsday's working title is For All Time Productions UK. Loki fans will remember that For All Time, Always is the TVA's motto, and likely a reference to the multiverse shenanigans we'll see when Earth 616's mightiest heroes battle Doctor Doom. So you're seeing there, they're throwing in a TVA reference for their whole working title for a movie that they don't need a working title on, which should also be worrying. It's like, oh great, TVA crap. Which brings us to this story, which is weird, that there's a rumor suggesting the movie will blend, that's right, live action and fully animated MCU characters. Yeah. So let's have a look at this. With the Russo brothers claiming that the leaked Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars concept art wasn't created for their vision of the movies, we're back to knowing very little about what to expect. However, the multiverse coming into play is a given. By the way, those images are real. The people from within have reached out to other content creators and stuff, other channels, and have confirmed, oh yes, those images are real. That is real art. That wasn't somebody farting about with AI and uploading them going, ooh, this is real. So it will probably end up being in the movies. Now, we have heard that they do seem to be more leaning towards images for Secret Wars rather than Doomsday, but if they're shooting it down this quickly, it probably means these are actual images that they were going to use. So it's saying anyway here, Deadpool and Wolverine delivered some memorable cameos, but Doomsday and Secret Wars should be on a whole different level. We expect to see plenty of faces from the past and some familiar MCU actors in new roles alongside Iron Man actor Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Today, a new report from the Cosmic Circus reveals that Marvel Studios is exploring how to bring animated characters into Avengers Doomsday. So, rather than having an animated character transition into live action, they'll retain their respective animation styles, similar to Space Jam and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The site adds, to clarify, while Miss Minutes is expected to return for Avengers Doomsday, the information regarding these scenes is in addition to Miss Minutes' interactions on screen. Unsurprisingly, What If characters are expected to be among those who take center stage in Doomsday, and this report suggests the Watcher will be shown alongside the Exiles, Storm, Bride and Kaihori, I think is how you say it. In the report, it said the characters will observe how the multiverse dissolves into madness from the fifth dimension and try to help out as much as they can. And then it just kind of rambles on a bit. The idea, okay, so they're trying to say, oh, they've already spent 8 million and that's building sets. Now they want to add in animated characters as well. This movie is just turning out to be a giant gimmick. And as much as people may want to say Deadpool and Wolverine was a massive success and blah blah blah, Deadpool and Wolverine was a gimmick movie. That's all it was, because it was cameo. And the one thing we all feared that Marvel and Disney would take away from it was all the wrong lessons, which is, oh, it made $1 billion because of all the cameos. Let's start filling our movies with tons of cameos. And here we are now being told of all of this crap, to the point that Doomsday may introduce animated characters. Animated characters that will still be animated. That is going to look really strange and probably take you completely out of the movie if that actually happens. So yeah, spending 8 million already and you haven't even filmed a frame of footage, to the point you don't even have the full cast locked down yet. This thing is going to be a colossal budget, and judging on what the Russo brothers have done lately and what Marvel themselves have been doing lately, this thing could be one of the biggest failures in cinematic history. We'll have to wait and see what starts coming out for this. We'll have to wait and see behind the scene photos, who we get in this. And that first trailer, whenever that drops, sometime next year, because this movie is set to come out next year, that's going to be very telling. So, with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.